Greetings, people folk. Yes, it's only about an hour later than I said, but that's okay. This is the internet. We don't worry about things like that, like that here.
In another time zone, you're right on.
Yeah, and I mean, plus this is one of those situations where I'm just still figuring out how everything works. So there was a lot of technical jiggery pokery going on at this end of things. So that is just one of those things. What happens? But thank you, you folks who may be tuning in and to stare at our strange antics. We are going to be playing InSpectres again today with a new group of folks. And as is the case with these one shots that I'm going to be doing every Sunday, then are we all leaned in appropriately?
That's not really an
Welcome,
option. I'm
everyone.
afraid I'll hit keys
How's
if I
it
do
going?
that.
Delightful. Excellent. I think we're off to an excellent start. So I'm just going to go around in the order of. Before we get started, I'm going to go around and introduce everybody. This is this is a game where a comedic game of paranormal investigation, and I'll get into the details in just a moment. But first, I'm going to start with Michael. Tell us who you are and who you're playing.
My name is Michael Miller, and I am playing Cole Brooks this evening.
All right, and Chris.
Hello, I'm Chris. I'm playing Lily Moore.
And Paul.
I'm Paul. I'm playing, I was supposed to be playing Timmy Pickles Jr., but apparently I'm playing Jimmy Pickles Jr.
Oh, good Lord. That'll be fixed. That will be fixed. And Derek.
Hi, I'm Derek, and I'm going to be playing Kevin Skylark.
Yeah. A lot of these things we have to sort of fix them on the fly, and that is one of the things that we're doing right now. Let me go ahead and see which badge is that? Which badge is that? There we go. Okay. Let me fix that letter, and then everything will be all right. All right, so that's there, and there we go. The transition is done, and it's delightful. Lovely. Okay. So this is InSpectres, for those of you who may or may not be familiar, and let us in fact, as we're doing this, let us in fact get that started, shall we? Let's. There we go. Okay, we've started. This is basically one of those games that's very player-facing. I don't really know anything that's going to be happening because the players actually define most of what happens.
But we're in trouble.
Yes. Everything will be fine. Basically, this is one of those games that they roll dice and we consult the table to see what happens, and hopefully hilarity results as they sort of define what's going on. I don't even know what NPCs are going to be in the mix necessarily because I'm deciding that randomly. I'm using the NPC deck from the Cypher system to kind of figure that out. And we sort of go from there. It is a hilarious controlled chaos. And it's I think going to be delightful. As part of basically the way that this thing works, when we set this up, the first thing that we do is franchise creation, and we're going to start with that to sort of figure out kind of what we're looking at here. It's essentially InSpectres is a franchise. They have billboards and everything. Perhaps one day there's going to be an app. In this world, the supernatural, spirits and vampires and werewolves and all manner of other things exist it's one of those things where they're more of an annoyance than a thing to be feared, and as a result, there is a franchise called the InSpectres that is supposed to go around and deal with such problems. So that is kind of what we're playing today. So first we must begin by deciding what kind of franchise this is. This is going to be located in San Francisco, or more specifically, a city that is very similar to San Francisco, a city that is similar to but legally distinct from San Francisco. That, in fact, I may call San Francisco from time to time, but that is a place that I have not been as an adult. So I'm going to make stuff up. Everyone's going to make stuff up. That's how it's going to go. We're making stuff up. So if perchance someone out there has been to a place called San Francisco, that is not this place necessarily, although it may have echoes of it, shall we say. So that's the first thing we need to all sort of figure out sort of collectively together. Your characters have come together to form this franchise. So what are we thinking? Is it in like an office building, or is it above a restaurant, or is it run out of a trailer? Generally speaking, the fewer resources you have to work with, the more hilarious it gets. But we can work with anything. So what do you folks think?
We should be working out of an abandoned Blockbuster.
Yes.
I like it.
Or an old Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
Oh.
Yeah,
be great.
one of those two would be good.
If we did a Chuck E. Cheese, can the animatronics still be there? And randomly
course.
go off?
I think that's a must.
Yeah. Okay. I'm definitely all in on Chuck E. Cheese now.
Excellent. Okay, so
I was going to be super original and say we should be in an abandoned firehouse and drive around in an old hearse. Is that not enough?
that sounds interesting. I'm sure someone will do that sooner or later, but I think for now we'll go with the Chuck E. Cheese. That's just fine. An abandoned Chuck E. Cheese, or something similar to and legally distinct from the Chuck E. Cheese franchise.
We'll call it Charles Edward Cheese.
Charles Edward Cheese.
Cheddar.
Now he's French
Cheddar.
fromage.
Charles Keza,
All the cheeses ever.
the German cousin of.
It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible. So it's in an abandoned Chuck E. Cheese. You're probably, then I'm guessing you've just taken over the various rooms to use in different places. Maybe you have a banner up front as you do this. Now, one of the I've talked about the major conceit of this game, and that is a lot of player narration. But another thing that I need to talk about, an important mechanic I need to bring up, is that of the confessional, which is basically a thing that allows you to bend the fabric of reality. You can each do one per scene maximum, and the way that works is it's very much couched as like a reality show. If you want to do a confessional, you just let me know you're doing one, and we go to the confessional cam, and you speak to the audience as though it's you're being interviewed later, and say what it is that is on your character's mind. There are different things you can do with it. You can give different players certain abilities. You can say, thankfully, Cole knew everything about he needed to know about birds, and as a result, this and so that's a thing. You can prophesy something that will happen. As we didn't realize that there would be we didn't realize that that we'd find a pot of gold at the bottom of the stairs, or whatever, the other thing you can do, of course, is to give yourself an advantage. You can sort of the best example, I talked about this last week. Best example I've ever seen of that was in an actual play I listened to, where folks were fighting demons, and all they had with them was super soakers, and someone did a confessional and said, thankfully, before we left, we filled all of our super soakers with holy water. And they come back to the present, and then all the demons burn. So it's a way you can basically twist and mangle the plot into pretzels if you so desire. The interesting...
Oh, that's great.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I thought you might like that. One of the interesting things about this session in particular is that our agent Kevin Skylark is a would-be documentary maker. So we're actually going to fold that into the very mechanics of the game. Normally the game starts with an interview session with you come in and talk to like someone who's like a franchise director or an investor or something like that, or a member of the media. And this time what we're going to do is actually have Kevin interview each of you as we go, after he makes his own introduction, as though this is for his own documentary that he's making. And so before we do that, though, one last thing we need to decide for your franchise. And that is, do you want titles? You can have various titles like, the CEO, CTO, that type of thing, or, lore specialist, or various other types of titles. So do you folks want titles?
Narrator.
Narrator. Nice. So he is this Inspector franchise's narrator. Excellent.
So just to clarify a point quick, in the setting, you're saying everybody knows ghosts and vampires are real, right?
Well, it's one of those things that it's kind of a dirty secret that a lot of people know about but don't want to admit is real. And then there are a lot of people who genuinely don't know. But it proliferates enough that there has to be an Inspectres franchise in most major cities. So it is a thing that where probably a majority of people will know.
Can I be the undead chicken herder?
The undead chicken herder. That's your title?
Sure.
You've been reading the chat, haven't you?
Well, if they're going to be undead chickens, then I might as well make sure someone can manage them.
There was my friend Eric is in the chat, and there was a session of Inspectres we played once where there ended up being poultry ghosts, a poultrygeist, if you will. And
I see.
So let me go ahead then and start entering those titles into the various badges.
Hello, Charles Cheddar. I'd like a cheese pizza with some of that undead chicken on it, please.
So does undead chicken taste better than normal chicken? Like, or does it
I
still
think
move
so.
when you're trying to eat it? How does
Yeah,
that?
that adds texture.
It does. It's good for you. It builds character.
The chicken corporeal or not?
That's an excellent question. I have no idea. That's going to be up to you folks. So, Chris, what was the title you wanted again?
The undead chicken herder.
Undead chicken herder. Okay. Going ahead and I'm putting that in and resizing the box here so that we'll see that when we update. Undead chicken herder. It could be almost a ceremonial title, one might expect. Also, incidentally,
really hard
folks,
undead chicken.
I know next to nothing about these characters. There are character sheets that they're using in Roll20. Those are for their reference. I'm going to be excited to learn who these people are when we get to the interviews. Does Timmy have a title?
Not yet.
All right.
I'm actually having a little issue with my camera. I'm going to have to reboot real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. Cameras are
I'll
about
have
to
a
go
title.
crazy.
I'll have a title for you when I get back.
Excellent. No worries. And in the meantime, Michael, do you have a title you want to put?
I don't. No, Cole doesn't. Not yet. He may earn
Okay.
one.
All right. That's perfectly fine. All right. Well, there is a thing I was about to do with the cameras, but let's let us wait for a moment until Paul returns, which will be just a moment. I have updated the titles that we have. So hopefully that will be well. Of course, we can see the only one who, strangely enough, the only one whose camera hasn't been affected is Derek. So he still looks exactly the same. So that's good.
Narrator.
Yes, he is a handsome fellow. So it's good for it's good.
You should perhaps consider a career in some type of entertainment.
He might.
Perhaps.
Well,
Yeah.
it's an important thing to think of.
On Twitch, currently, I'm Agent Timmy Pickles Jr.
Yeah,
So
according to one day, because everything gets hopped around. Actually, tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna go ahead and have Kevin provide his opening narration in which he will introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his character. Let me go ahead and switch over to that screen, and that hopefully will help us a little bit. So go ahead, Kevin. How does your documentary open?
Okay. So first, just some general backstory So documentary opens and it goes. It's like it's not even quite a documentary. It's kind of like a TV series documentary, if you will. It starts off with InSpectres with Kevin Skylark. Yes, the same Kevin Skylark who has brought to you such wonderful documentaries as Charging with the Polar Bears and Earth Planet. Tonight, we're going down to Charles Cheddar's, which has been recently abandoned and supposedly haunted by the poor soul of Jimmy Johnson. The poor soul who supposedly was murdered once the restaurant ran out of pepperoni, putting it out of business, recently turned into an InSpectres franchise. Tonight, I will be sitting with agents of this particular franchise, and we will be solving quite an interesting mystery. And as he's saying this, the camera sort of pans down on this Charles Cheese's. It goes through the door inside the building, and there's the stage where all the animatronics would be on, and on it there are two chairs, and animatronics were it's like a special chair because they couldn't get the animatronics to sit, so the animatronics are built into the chair, and he's just sitting on one of their laps. And he's got a chair across from him and a camera by his side.
That's awesome. This is beautiful.
Who will he be interviewing first?
Who wants to go first? Who wants to go first?
All right, well, somebody's got to go first, so it might as well be Timmy Pickles.
All righty, let's go ahead and give get Timmy in the chair there.
So first, we'll be interviewing Timmy Pickles.
Howdy.
Timmy Pickles Jr., in fact. It's nice to meet you, Timmy. And he reaches across and gives you a handshake.
Hey, it's damn nice to meet you as well. Nice firm handshake. I like a man with a good handshake.
As do I, Timmy. Now, what got you in the paranormal investigative business?
What mostly got me into this here business is the need for work. You see, for most of my life, I've been living out in eastern North Carolina, and just moved myself over here to San Francisco. Not entirely sure why, not entirely sure what I'm going to do. But I understand there's a lot of opportunity out in a city like this, and a dude like me could do pretty well, I figure. I'm pretty handy with just about anything. If you got a gadget or a whatnot or something that needs to be fixed, I can fix everything from from an electrical problem inside your house down to your truck engine, over to your car. I'll fix up your computer and your networks as well. I'm pretty well self-trained all-around handyman. So, I understand they need a lot of folks like that do that kind of work out here. So, Timmy Pickles is here.
I see. No, you know how to fix many mechanical and electrical problems, but now you're learning how to fix ghost problems. I like it.
Yeah, I suppose you could say that. Back in Carolina, we would consider that kind of big city nonsense. But since I've been coming out here, I've seen y'all got all sorts of infestations of the undead and whatnot. Matter of fact, I was walking around a little bit south of here. There's a farm, and they got a bunch of undead chickens I come across, and that was the damnedest thing I ever did see. So I figured, what the hell? It's time for me to start looking into this kind of thing. By the way, don't eat an undead chicken because it is not good. That meat is literally rotting as it walks. So I highly suggest. And in fact, don't eat the eggs either. You crack them open, you know what comes out? Little ghost chicks. It's a puff of smoke and a ghost chick. And that some bitch will follow you around because it thinks you're his mama. So now you got a whole bunch of dead chickens and they following you around, as well as the ghosts of baby chickens following you too. It's a goddamn mess.
Excellent advice, Timmy. Thank you. We're going to get to the next interviewer now. He gives you a handshake as you getting up.
Pleasure.
This is delightful.
Speaking of undead chickens, Charles Cheddar's resident undead chicken herder, Lily Moore. It's a pleasure to meet you, Lily.
Hello.
So, Lily, I've heard so much about these undead chickens you've been herding. How does one such as yourself find themselves in a situation where they're suddenly herding undead chickens? I've heard some strange things about you. That once you were a Olympic athlete, or almost one at least.
Almost. I was the alternative for the Canadian gymnastic team, but no one got injured.
Magnificent.
So, well, the key is to mix in less salt with the chicken feed, and I got my degree in physical education, and they needed someone fairly nimble because chickens, undead or not, are pretty fast at running and escaping and getting into little holes. So the key is to put the blessed salt in the chicken feed, and then you put it around the chicken, and then the undead chicken can't actually leave that circle with blessed salt. And then from there you can, sprinkle water on it, which will help clarify it. And so that's really the key, though. Blessed salt mixed with chicken feed.
I hope you're taking notes at home, folks.
Now, as a Canadian, do you add into that mix a little bit of maple syrup? I'm assuming.
Well,
you
why
add
wouldn't
quite
you?
a lot.
I always have blessed maple syrup. That's really in Canada. We don't use blessed water. We use blessed maple syrup. It's so much more effective because it actually sticks to them, and then they can't they can't just shake it off. It sticks to them. It's particularly useful if you're dealing with like an undead rotted, like they might, if the water gets on like their finger or something, they try and chop it off. If you can get it all across their arm, it like even will get inside in their undead muscles. It's really quite better than blessed water.
Now that's an interesting how do you do. I'm going to start adding into my utility belt a little bit of Canadian maple syrup. And I figure I could always just ask you, because being a Canadian, I figure you got at least, 12 to 18 gallons at any given moment in storage.
Yeah, I always keep some in the car.
All right, sounds good.
I'm so delighted. I love this so much.
Simply fascinating, folks. And now we're going to get to our last agent, Mr. Cole Brooks. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Can you blur my face? I think I came to the wrong place. I'm not. Look, you guys are fine. Absolutely. I'm sure you're wonderful people, but I don't necessarily believe in undead chickens or vampiric turkeys or whatever the hell.
Now,
That's fine. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. I'm just.
Everybody knows that turkeys are prone to lycanthropy.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Vampires. Son of a. This guy don't know a damn thing.
Now hawks totally can go vampire.
Okay. Do you have Advil, Tylenol, anything?
Well, this is going on. Kevin is like turned around to the cameraman. He's whispering. He's like, "Is this in the script?
I don't know, man. I got no idea.
Does this man just wander onto set?"
No, he's one of the inspectors, man. He's good.
Look, I just
well,
it's
an interesting perspective.
I'm just looking for answers, I guess. And after, listening to my colleagues speak, I'm wondering if it's the right questions now.
Cole Brooks, a man searching for answers, but only finding more questions. You've heard it here, folks. And it goes to like the intro for the show, as showing all these little clips of adventures, shaky cam, it's playing the intense music, all that great stuff.
For a moment there, I was hunting horribly through OBS looking for a mosaic effect, but sadly there was not one. My kingdom for a mosaic. Excellent. So you have those are the intros. You folks have gotten your franchise started at this point, and there are ads out. And you're about to receive a client. Let me find out by drawing some cards and figure out who your client is going to be.
Hey, cool. While we're waiting to find out who our client's going to be, let me ask you something. What brought you into this line of work? I'm assuming you used to be a clothing designer of some sort. Cole Brooks, I'm pretty damn sure I've owned at least a couple pairs of pants that had your name in them. It sounds like a fashion designer name at any rate.
No.
But I got a pair of pants with your name in them, so hey, you think you could?
That disturbs me on a number of levels, but no, I'm an artist actually. I paint.
Don't go denigrating clothing designers. That's a form of art as well. I think you're talking bad about yourself. You shouldn't do that. You should be proud of the good work you do. I like the pants you make. They're comfy as all hell.
Okay. Thank you.
Think if you signed them, they'd be worth a little more. Tell you what, I'm gonna bring back a couple pair of my britches and see if you can sign them for me. I'm pretty damn sure I could probably sell them on eBay or something like that.
Do you have a doorbell, or is anything set up like that? A buzzer, anything like that?
Rather than a doorbell, what we didn't have one of those, so I went ahead and wired the doorbell to the animatronic animals in the old Chuck E. Cheese. So
excellent.
that whenever anybody hits the bell, they start singing the happy birthday song.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
So, as
Cole's
this,
unaware of this, so when it goes off, he literally jumps 3 feet into the air and has a momentary panic where he's like trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
So the happy birthday song begins playing behind you, and it's sort of just, it comes up as this giant rat and a large dog and some fuzzy undefined creature begin sort of clashing these instruments together. And
all of Kevin's camera equipment is getting knocked over because they were sitting on those chairs.
So apparently there's someone at the door.
I will go answer it.
Rushes to his camera and is following behind you closely.
Bull takes a seat at one of the tables and just starts sketching.
Excellent. So who's going to the front?
I will go answer it.
Okay. So Lily, you see up at the front, there is you can see through the glass door. That's the front of the Charles Cheddar. As you come around sort of where the token dispensary is, and you can see what looks like a park ranger standing at the front door. She has the hat and the greenish uniform and everything.
Open the door, say, "Welcome to InSpectres. How can we help you?"
Hi. And she sort of grabs onto the edge of the door and is drumming her fingers. This is, you deal with strange things, yes?
You have no idea.
Would you like to come in?
Yes, I would. I think yes, we need to talk about something that I need a little help with. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. And so she comes in, just sort of looks around behind her, and just proceeds into the Charles Cheddar.
How long does the animatronics go after the doorbell rings?
It's just dying down now.
Okay.
Lily, if you wanted to hear it again, I'll go ahead and rig it up so it plays twice.
Yeah. It does play. Yes, it. It shudders through its. It's been shuddering through its second rendition, and is very slowly, sort of everything's going. Finally.
Oh, y'all ain't gonna believe this. I just found there's a Spanish setting. I'm gonna set it to go in Spanish next time. That'll be pretty good.
Yes. Ah, delightful. Do you just leave her? Do you keep her in the lobby? Do you bring her back to the horrible animatronics? Or do you receive
I
her
think I'll
somewhere
keep
else?
her in the lobby.
Okay.
That seems more polite.
All right. And she's like, "Well, do you get
I mean, I
anybody,
think
or do
there's
you just?"
seating. Like, there's the tables where they would have pizza parties and stuff in the lobby, right?
If I recall correctly, there's like a, well, there can be. You can have put some there if you like.
I mean, that seems entirely reasonable to have some of the
Sure.
old, with
This one can totally be like that, where you
Yeah.
can do that, and it's not the
an
main
old
animatronic
cheese
room
still stuck on it.
where the giant. Yeah, this isn't the giant dining hall in the back where you folks were. So yeah, basically she sits at the table and she's like, well, so. The city
Before
isn't.
you speak, though, I should tell you we have a guy filming a documentary here. So if you're uncomfortable on
Oh.
camera,
He's like stealthily behind her. She hasn't noticed yet.
She
He's
just
uncomfortably close.
adjusts her hat, and when you say that, she just sort of stops, Lily, and you see her just sort of as though she's just suddenly realizing something, and her eyes just sort of turn slowly. She looks back to you. Is there someone behind me right now?
there is a guy filming behind you.
Kevin Skylark from Planet Earth. It's wonderful to meet you.
Thank you for letting me know. She
Well, I
adjusts her
think
hat
legally
and her
we're supposed to
uniform.
let you know, so.
And she just sort of glances back at Kevin. It's like, hi.
Hello. Please act natural, as if I am not here. And he takes a step forward.
Of course.
Are you getting the fiber count of her hat?
Yeah. She's like, right, well, there's a... well, in that case, I should say that we've been having some issues that perhaps it might be good for you to come and take a look at Golden Gate Park.
Wait, did you say Golden Gate Park?
Oh, yes. That's where I work.
Can I
Have you
make
considered perhaps giving us additional details other than issues?
Well, of course, yes. Additional details.
I didn't introduce myself to you. My name is Timmy J. Pickles III, Jr. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure.
I'm Lily Moore.
I'm
She's got a lot of syrup because she's Canadian. You know how they are with the syrup.
right.
And
yeah.
Platoon.
And don't ask her for any bacon because she'll give you a goddamn piece of ham and call it bacon.
It is bacon.
It's not. She's a liar.
I'm Ranger
If I were more
Jocelyn
polite, I would say something rude about your bacon.
Clement.
Cole.
Maybe I should
Not
go.
thinking
Maybe
about
this isn't the. Maybe I. Made
No,
it
it's fine. What type of issues are you having?
Well, Well, no, it's okay. Well, is this going to be confidential?
Of course.
If you want to ask him to turn it off, we can do that.
I'd really kind of prefer it while this is going on. I'd really rather not talk about this on camera. Right
Are you sure
now.
you wouldn't prefer I just blur your face and make your voice sound like a robot?
Oh, that'd be great.
You know,
You can-
like you did with me just a little while ago. Thanks for that, by the way.
Okay. So there's been an issue at the park, and we're having trouble trying to figure it out. This is all very confidential. We don't want any of this to get out while this is going on. But if you folks are as good as they say you are, then I'm hoping this will just take care of it. Recently, some of the folks who have been coming to the park have been disappearing, and we found we've started finding body parts in different places around the park. There's we found a few severed fingers in the Shakespeare Garden, and there were we found a leg in the Japanese garden, in the Japanese tea garden, and we found an arm outside of the Natural History Museum. This is all within the last few days.
Have the police been informed?
Well, of course they have. You find a body part, you tell the cops, but they haven't been able to trace it to anything as of yet. We also have that in the Shakespeare Garden, also at the bust of Shakespeare. We think there were some. It's like some sort of animal clawed it. There's these deep gash marks in the stone, and we just don't know what to make of it. That we don't have that kind of wildlife in the park. Do you folks think you could do something?
You seen any kind of I don't know, tooth marks or anything like that on any of these pieces that you've found around? I mean, like, here's a question. Do these body parts y'all have found appear to have been cleanly severed, or does it appear to have been a little bit more gnawed off?
Are
Like
torn
if,
off.
yeah, or ripped off, in the way that like a strong person might rip off a limb or a finger.
We really didn't. We haven't really been able to tell so much. We're more just immediately calling the police, and then.
Is there a time of day that they seem to appear? Like, do they appear in the morning after the park's been closed during the night? Do they appear after?
Usually I run into them when I'm doing my morning patrol just before we open.
Okay, so they're appearing in the morning. Okay.
Y'all got night security?
We have, and they haven't seen anything. They've
Have any of
All of your night security people are accounted for. Ain't none of them missing.
No, none of them have gone missing yet. But I mean, to be fair, security hasn't really been a big problem. Normally we have everything gated in, so intruders can't really get into the important place. I mean, the different locations where we've been finding the body parts. So I don't know what to tell you about
Do
that.
you have like a visitor counter and the same number have been going in as it's been leaving?
It's a public park. There's no way to do that effectively. We have a register of the folks who've been renting the Shakespeare Garden, because they usually rent it for weddings, but that's about it.
Mm.
can you give me a description of parts like skin color, male, female? Did you have any idea of any of that?
The leg looked kind of tan. The fingers were kind of pale. And the hand was also kind of pale.
So perhaps not from the same person then.
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Interesting.
Now,
fact.
when you say pale, do you mean like your typical Irish redhead pale, or do you mean more like, oh, that person done been locked in a basement kind of pale?
The hand was more basement, and the fingers were more. No. The hand was more Irish. The fingers were more basement. I think.
Right.
Hard to tell with fingers.
Well, do you have a contact info that we can contact you with any other questions? And if we do go to the park, do you want us to be more discreet, or can we be more open in our investigation?
Discretion would be nice. We've got people coming in and out every day, and we can't really stop them. We've got and the police cordoned off certain areas, but there's really nothing much aside from that that's blocking anything. So yeah, discretion would be good. If you could manage that, that would be helpful. Here's
Now,
my
would
card.
y'all consider it? Would y'all consider it to be discreet if we was broadcasting this on the internet?
No.
Kevin just kind of like puts a finger to
But
his
we
lip.
could use the camera as if we were doing a documentary on the park, and then that way it doesn't necessarily show a purpose of doing this investigation.
Well,
And then
Yes, of course.
yeah, however you want to handle that, that's fine. I mean, that's people bring cameras into the park all the time. That's not a problem. Here's my card, and she hands you her business card.
Thanks, ma'am. We'll do what we can.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. She gets up and heads out. Now I think would be an excellent time to deal with the resources of the franchise, because the gearing up portion of the mission is coming up. Something what we need to do is distribute your franchise dice, and I'll kind of explain how this works with the various stuff that goes on. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the view for our franchise information here. You have essentially those tokens off to the right. You should be able to grab them in Roll20 and move them around. You have a number. You have basically 4 different things that you can use to enhance your rolls, if you so choose. You have basically there are 10 dice that you can assign to these different cards before we start the mission entirely. And that will give you things that you can take from to add bonuses. So the gym card adds to athletics rolls. The library card will add to your academics rolls. The credit card will add to your technology rolls. And the bank deposit slip is for any other extra dice that you don't invest into any of the others. Those are bank dice, and you can use those to add to anything, but there are special rules for the bank dice themselves whenever you roll them. Their rolls still count as normal for a roll, but depending on what comes up on the bank dice, there's an additional effect as to whether or not you keep the bank dice, or they increase, or they go down. That's basically the way that works. Each time, these are one-time use dice, and you have up to 10 of them, and you must decide now how you wish to distribute them.
All right. I feel like we should probably have at least one on each.
I agree.
I'd agree.
I know for a fact that Kevin has like nothing in athletics. He's got 1 point.
Timmy's only
So-
got 2.
I've got 4.
Brooks, I think, only has 1. Let me check.
Gotcha.
1.
And then he's pretty good at like technology, I'd imagine, right?
Yes. 4 in technology.
Gotcha. Do we have anyone who is a 4 in academics?
I got a 3.
I also have a 3.
I actually have
maybe
a
we'll
3
put-
as well.
Since we don't have a 4, maybe we'll put an extra 1 or 2 on there. Do we want to put any in the bank?
I would suggest we put some in the bank. Money is useful for all kinds of things.
That's fair enough. We'll put 2 in the bank at least. Maybe we can put 3 in the bank, 3 in the library, and then 2 on the others.
Works for me.
What's the credit card again?
Technology.
Yep, as your technology rolls. And so what that means is that you have a fair amount saved. The way this franchise is starting, you have a fair amount saved up in the bank, an okay amount. You have slightly better than average resources for as far as occult library or information goes, academic information. And you've got, you're okay as far as athletic equipment and or whatever, sort of, or gym memberships, what have you, and your equipment about about roughly average level, so that's how that works. So when we begin, so that's how that's set up. You also note in the mission tokens earned section there, we're going to be looking for this. We'll go ahead and do this as a 10 token mission. So you have to earn 10 mission dice or mission tokens. They're not dice that you roll during the thing. They're just for the franchise. As we go, basically that will be sort of how far along we are. And so now we've determined that those are your resources you can draw on. Like I said, remember, anyone can use them for their rolls, but once you use them, they're gone. So that's what we've got set up now. So you guys presumably are getting ready to head out there, or head out somewhere. Do you want to grab any equipment to bring with you, and we can start making equipment?
We have a
rolls?
van that we carry equipment with.
Now, as it happens, there is a brand new invention that I recently put together that I think this would be a good opportunity to try and put to the test. It's a creation of my own called the Last Moments Terrorometer, which basically you can take it and it'll, you put it near a dead body, or in this case, parts of a dead body, and it will, while it can't really tell you exactly what done gone on, at least gives you, it kind of links up with the remnants of their spirit, what are still hanging around in the environs, if you will, and tells you whether that last moments of that person were scared or confused. Kind of gives you a feeling of what they felt. So, like, if a werewolf done come out and ate your face, you'd be pretty damn scared. Whereas, if a vampire bit you,
Feel right now. Doomed.
yeah, you might start vampire bit you,
Now-
you might start getting, a little bit kind of sultry feeling.
But
depending
are the
on
body
who-
parts in the police evidence locker? Do we need to go by there and use
Or-
your gadget?
Mayhap. But first of all, Paul, I'm going to need you to make a technology roll. This will not be a mission roll, so you don't get mission dice for it, or you won't get mission tokens for it. But you'll need you're going to need a 6 to be able to have something that does that exactly, because that's sort of getting into sci-fi realms. It's basically a 6 for anything that's over the top, supernatural, or sci-fi. 5 for anything that's hard to get, rare but exists, and 4 for average stuff. So go ahead, if you will, Paul, and make a technology roll.
All right, so that's just 4, right?
And so you have 4 you have a 4 in technology.
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So roll 4
Now,
technology
can,
dice.
can I add 1 dice in from having read the manual? I understand, based on your you can add sometimes dice for your background skills. And
Well, would this be a good moment for the confessional?
We can do a confessional. Let's go ahead and take care of this this roll real quick, and then we can swap in because I kind of want to see how it goes. I believe that what is your background skill in?
Kind of gadget making, right? Like general handyman kind of stuff, fixing engines, building small devices, stuff like that.
That will work for mission rolls, not for equipment rolls.
Right, so I'm going to roll 4 dice.
Mm-hmm. All right, and let's see. What do you got? Okay, you got a 3. So you have a device that you believe does this. It does something.
Marks are interesting.
So it's a device
Might not put it near any dry grass.
Yeah. But is as yet untested, and you've put it together, and you know what it's supposed to do, and over the course of this, we'll see what it does. What's that device called?
It is called it's called the Last Moments Terrorometer.
Last Moments Terrorometer. Awesome.
Basically,
Does it have like a big meter with the goes from green to red?
Yeah, it does. It's kind of like one of them. It's a big handheld thing. It's got kind of a proboscis going up off the end of it and some colored lights around it like that.
Excellent. And so, Lily, did you want to do a confessional?
No, I was actually thinking it might make sense for Paul to do a confessional with this equipment.
Yes, that's that is a possible thing that one could do to add narrative detail to this. So, Paul, you totally have that option. If at some point you want to do that, if you want to do it now, we can do it.
I'll do it now.
Okay.
So that's just describe what my invention is, right?
You can conceivably do that, or it's just something that
like you could talk into the camera holding it up.
This is something that happens. This confessional happens after the mission, and is something you're telling them. So you're telling the audience. So go right ahead.
So the Last Moments Terrorometer is a device of my own creation that I've been tinkering with for some time. Basically, what it does is it analyzes the remains of a human, what is sitting there. And it tries to gather information from what little bits of their spirit might still be lingering in the nearby realm. And what it actually does is you hold it in your right hand, and there's another handle on the underside, so you kind of hold it like this, all right? Because what happens is it reads those feelings, and it shoots them back down the handles, which, as you can plainly see, are exposed copper rods. So you're holding on to them exposed copper rods, and it will actually inject the feelings that last person had into you, so you kind of feel the emotions that they had at that moment. Now, you can't rightly see exactly what they done seen. It's not like it can recreate the past, nor can it tell the future, but it can inject your body with the feelings of their spirit. So for a moment, your spirit and their spirit sync up, and you kind of feel what their spirit felt in those last couple of moments before they went. Now, when I've tested it, mostly it seems to work great. Occasionally, it does shock the hell out of you. But when it does work right, you'll be pretty damn impressed. So it kind of gives you a feeling of what they went through. So, like, I'm thinking maybe in this situation, we could figure out if these people was stuck up on, right? Like they was enjoying the flowers, and then all of a sudden, blackness. Or if, holy God, something's charging down a field at me. It's about to eat my face. You kind of get a feeling about that. Or, alternatively, it will shock you into unconsciousness. It's going to do one of those two things.
I am dying to see this. To see what happens when you use this thing. This is wonderful. Excellent. So yeah, it definitely does all those things.
InSpectres with Kevin Skylark does not recommend creating your own ghost equipment at home.
Excellent. I'm just going to go around and check with each of the other agents to see if there's a piece of equipment they particularly want. I'm going to move on to Cole. Is there a particular piece of equipment you want to bring with you?
Oh, sorry, camera.
Okay, so just a camera. Anything special about it, or just a regular camera?
Camera and possibly some good macro lenses.
Okay, you can have those. Easy enough to get. You have those. You do not have to roll for that necessarily. Well, actually,
I actually wanted to bring a camera as well, but mine was going to be a special camera.
Well, we'll come around to you in just a moment.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you can pick up a camera. Anything that I think is going to be just sort of average, average type thing, I think you should be fine. I'm
And
gonna
Cole
make you-
normally has a sketch pad. Do I need to actually roll that around or whatever?
That's no problem. Yeah, anything mundane you can have. That's not really a big deal.
He doesn't want anything fancy. Not yet.
Yeah, if you don't want anything fancy, I'm not going to make you roll for it. Okay. Then Lily, do you want anything in particular to bring with you?
Yeah, I think my normal hunting gear. So, I'm probably gonna wear like loose yoga pants, tank top, and tennis shoes because that's helpful with my athletics, my gymnastics, and then a vest that carries my bottles of maple syrup that are blessed.
Ah.
So that's going to be like down the chest, and also I'm going to have a few like containers of like blessed salt. What else can I have? Blessed salt. I'm going to have dried and blessed maple leaves.
Okay. So we have holy syrup, and we have blessed salt and maple leaves. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, because I would like to just for the sake of it and to see how effective these things are going to be, I would like you to make I'd like you to make a technology roll, and we'll see kind of where we are with that.
I don't know that I have. I think I only have like one in technology.
Roll that die.
Okay. Can I have Timmy make it for me?
Nope. You're the one who gets the idea, you're the one that makes the roll. Okay, that was for the
Did that go through?
That was for the holy syrup. So you have something that you believe is blessed holy maple syrup. Go ahead and make a roll for the blessed salt. Okay. You have the salt is starting to it has been blessed by a priest, but it is starting to kind of congeal might be the wrong word, but it's kind of starting to crust together a little bit.
So I need to get some blessed rice to put in there with it.
Maybe, yeah, that's probably a good idea. Go ahead and roll for the maple leaves. Okay, and also you have maple leaves that apparently have been blessed by a priest, but there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with them. So that will be kind of where we are, and I realize that our cameras are kind of messed up at the moment for anyone who might be watching. As we once we get Paul back, then that will probably that shall correct itself. But
I can try and talk with a southern accent like Timmy Pickles, but I don't think I'd do very well.
No, it's quite all right. So let us proceed then on to Kevin. Kevin, what you said you wanted a special kind of camera?
Yes. So Kevin wants a camera that is possessed with the ghost of his favorite intern. It'll be called the Camera Bobscura, and it's capable of seeing anything that wishes to make itself invisible, such as ghosts, spiritual energies, etc.
Okay.
So that way he doesn't have to add it in post.
Yeah, we shall definitely need a roll. Yeah, that's the main reason, just so you don't have to. Go ahead and make a technology roll for me, please.
All right. Would anyone mind if I use one of our money dice?
I do not mind.
Okay, so when you make a roll with a bank die, the way this will work is the first die.
Oh, I meant the credit card.
Oh, the credit card. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you're using a technology die, credit card die. I shall take that away. And I see you got a 6.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So that is definitely exactly what you wanted. So that you have a camera that does precisely that.
Fantastic.
So we're very good, very good. So a spirit camera. Okay. So, where are you folks headed first?
We want to go to the police station or the park?
I mean, I don't know what wandering around the park is going to get us. It's a park. I mean, there's people all over the place. Why don't we go to where we know we can find something, which is the morgue, presumably. We can at least take a look at the body parts and get a better idea of what's,
And we could try
not that any of
Timmy's gadget on it.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Sure.
Okay.
We can do that. Absolutely. I'm sure that'll work great.
That'll work.
Not bad at all.
Y'all's gonna be damn pleased with the results. I can tell you that.
To the morgue, then. And who is driving?
Me, I don't trust them.
Excellent. All
Can
right.
Kevin be like in the passenger seat, like filming?
Oh, absolutely. He's got his camera like way up in his face.
So, the truth is, the Golden Gate Park is actually what brought me to this strange and somewhat regrettable turn of events anyway. So I actually have a vested interest in this. I think our experiences are the same or connected, but it is, why I find myself here right now.
Do you want to do a confessional about this, or shall we?
I
I'm
think
right
this would
here
be
with
an
the
excellent
camera.
time for a professional.
All right, you can do a confession.
All right.
All right. I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm here with them. All right, look. So I've heard all the stories, ghosts and boogeymen. So I don't really put a lot of stock into them, right? I guess as an artist, I'm supposed to have an open mind. And anyways, I frequently just spend time in the park. Relaxing sometimes after classes, or just inspiration, or just to get a different change of view. And one day I'm sitting in the park and I'm just sketching, nothing that important, and I see this woman over on a bench across from me, and she's smiling at me, and I mean, she's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. So I figure, why not? I'll go over and say hello. So I bring my bag over there and I sit down next to her and I say hello, and things actually go well. We're talking, things are amazing, and I don't know, it just felt like we've been talking for hours, and she was really into art, which is what I'm going to school for, so I thought that was great. And she asked to see some of my sketches, so great. I turned around to get my bag, which I had laid down there, and I look back up and she's just gone. She's not there. So I'm a little confused, and for a couple minutes, and then I feel angry because I feel like I was getting blown off, like she ran off or something. And I'm fine. Maybe I did something, maybe I said something, whatever. I'm fine with that, but just let me know. Just say something. So, rather than leave dejected, I decided I'm going to find this woman and give her a piece of my mind. So I'm walking around just getting angrier and angrier, and I pass by this group, and something in my head just kind of goes, click, click, and is like, there's something there. You need to go back. So I go back, and there's this big, it's a bunch of people looking kind of sad and rough, but there's a picture of that girl right there. And they've all got it, and it turns out they're having a memorial service for her because apparently she died 6 months ago. So I know it sounds crazy. But I looked her up. I found her obituary. I know this wasn't a joke. It wasn't crazy. And I just want to know what happened. That's why I'm here. And now it just sounds like I'm here for something undead dating wise. So let's just forget I ever said. Can you cut that? Can you just cut all that out?
InSpectres with Kevin Skylark does not recommend dating anyone who's deceased, undead, or has fame.
Drive. Let's just drive. Fine. Forget it. Did I say anything?
So I'm pretty damn sure that he's one of them necromancers. The people that sleep with dead people.
But if
He's
you
a
sleep with
necromancer.
the body of a dead, you're a necromancer. But if you sleep with the spirit of, but not the body, what are you defined as?
A spectromancer.
Okay.
All right. So you arrive at the police station. And there's a sufficient amount of parking, we'll say. You pull up, and you folks, or actually no, you're heading to the morgue, right? You said you're heading direct to the morgue, so that actually would not be right at the police station. It would be in a different place, wherever the morgue is. But you pull up to the morgue, you head out and into the building, and there's someone at a desk down there, and
Does anyone have contacts with the
I got 3.
All right, you can be our
Okay.
speaker.
So
there's a guy
Cole
who's
looks at all of them and then quickens his pace so that he's moving faster to engage the person before they have a chance.
Cole, wait up! I start crying.
And he gets
Speed walking.
like, "Hi,
So the guy looks up from where he's working at the desk. He's got a scar on his forehead, and so he just sort of looks up.
Is it lightning bolt shape?
It is not lightning bolt shaped. No, he is not a wizard. Can I help you?
he's yeah. Sorry, Cole Brooks. I'm actually here as an investigator, hired on behalf of the incidents that have been going on at the Golden Gate Park. And
He's a former fashion
like
designer.
opportunity-
He owns some pants that have been made by him. I've got at least 2 pair, quite comfortable. Go ahead, Cole Brooks.
Thank you. Well, we would like an opportunity to take a look at the evidence that's been collected so far in order to help our investigation into the matter.
I see. Cole, this is the time for you to make a contact roll.
All right, I got 3, I believe. So skill, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go to the table.
So
Our first mission roll.
the entire time he's
Okay.
been talking, he can't help but keep staring at the guy's scar on his forehead.
So let's see, something
We
terrible
want to
happened.
see if there was potential for any scar tissue. I mean, the injuries involved.
All right, so something terrible is going to happen as a result of this. Let me switch.
Oh,
to
as a
my-
result of what? I didn't see the roll.
he got a 1. He got a 1.
Oh.
So on the skill roll chart, that means
3 dice. 1, 1, 1.
yep,
Where does
Terrible.
That, oh, I didn't scroll down for. Oh, good lord.
yep. The GM gets to hose you with a truly dire situation resulting from your incompetence. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up a thing, and you can sort of help define it a little bit better as it goes on. Let me switch over to something more appropriate. Let's see. So he rises up out of his seat as you ask him this.
Well, you're taller than I thought.
And-
Chip kind of takes off.
He just stares.
You.
Stares down at you as he does so, and he just looks.
You know the
and his eyes just sort of take on a strange sheen to
hitting it
them,
that way.
and his scar kind of looks almost for a moment as though it's moving slightly as he does so.
5 years. Anyone feel
He says,
just? Yeah.
and he says, "Get out." And you feel this force pushing you back as though you want to immediately run back for the door. And I'm going to need you to make a 2 stress die roll for me, please.
That be all of us or just Cole?
This one is going to be just Cole. Everyone else make a 1 stress die roll as
Fine.
you're
I'm gonna-
behind him.
6s now, guaranteed.
Pearly Gates Mortuarium is world famous for its supernatural defenses.
Okay. So let me go through the results here in Roll20. So let's see. Okay, Mike and Chris got 1s on their stress rolls. Paul.
No. Mike got a 3.
Great.
Mike got a
The
3.
one
Oh,
is
I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong roll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
I'm the only
actually
one
just
with a
I'm going to go
1.
in reverse order here.
Got us into this mess.
Yeah, Kevin got a 5 on his roll, so he's probably fairly busy narrating. He's blasé, no effects, you don't care. So you're able to maintain your narration. You're fine. For Paul's roll, he got a 4, which is annoyed. This is annoying you. You suffer a 1 die penalty to your next skill roll, no matter where or when you perform it. So keep that in mind. Mike, you got a 3. So you are stressed. You are going to lose a die from one of your skills. You may, I would recommend contact, but you can actually, I'm going to let you choose. I've been letting folks choose on this. So go ahead and you may, you're 1 die down. You have 1 die of, temporarily 1 die down on a skill. And Chris rolled a 1, which is a complete and total nuclear meltdown. You haven't gotten any cool dice yet, so you don't have to worry about losing any of those, but you will lose a number of skill dice equal to the number of stress dice you rolled. So you just rolled 1 stress die, so you lose 1 skill die. And your character is having a nuclear meltdown. Tell us, what does that look like?
She's sweating maple syrup.
Is there like some place that I could climb and get up high? Because
well, you're not actually in the morgue proper, so there's not a lot of. But yeah, we could say that there are a couple of. There's been construction. There might be like a step ladder over to one side. This is in the basement of a building, so there are like pipes and ducts and things like that about.
can I sort of? Because I'm since I kind of figured my character kind of did gymnastics all of her life. Like that would be what she reverts to, when stressed. So, like, can I do like a handstand or I don't know, like a flip up onto a pipe and kind of?
You certainly may attempt to do so. Please roll athletics.
All right.
Okay, and you got a 5. So that as you pull back to get away from this being, you got a 5 in your athletics, and so actually something good happens as a result of your leaping up onto this pipe. Please describe the result of something good happening as a result of your doing that. It's because you're gaining a franchise die, so it brings you 1 step closer to actually completing your mission. So what happens?
When I flip up on the pipe, I actually notice a different way to get into the morgue around this guy.
Excellent. So you just Lily just leaps up and is crawling toward this through on top of this pipe, running towards something else. So let's see. What are the rest of you doing?
You know what? I just remembered I left my ID. The ID you probably need to check. I left it back in the van. I'm just gonna go back to the van now.
Could I do a confessional?
And then he does backwards, stumble, kind of quick power walk out the door until he's not visible, and then he runs to the van.
Excellent. Okay, you back up and you run, and then Kevin wants to do a confessional. So
yes.
Confessional.
Actually, I have a question. Because I'm a cameraman, could I do a confessional, but I get to say what, like he's interviewing the security guard, and the security guard saying something?
Ordinarily, this is something that's cut into the documentary later, so this is something that ideally is happening later. Your cameraman's shooting you, doing a confessional later, so you can describe something that happened now, if you want.
Gotcha.
Okay. But from the perspective of the mission already being over.
Gotcha. Little did we know, small Timifer, the man with the scar who was sitting behind the counter, was just the most insanely vocal and enthusiastic gymnastics fan in the whole county. So when he saw Lily perform this feat, he was blown away. He would do anything to help this gymnastics star. It was quite a marvelous coincidence.
Canadian gymnastics star on top of it.
Excellent. All right. So so Cole has run out the door. Timmy has yet to act while this is going on. So if do you want to get in something before the results of this this confessional come to pass?
No. He's actually quite taken with the rather impressive physical display that Lily just put on.
Excellent.
And
So
is a little bit kind of
So what happens then is that the coroner basically has been standing there, just settles back down to the ground, and just sort of the glow goes out of his eyes, and he's like, "Oh, wait, is that?" And he just sort of turns to the two of you who are still in the room. He's like, "Is that Lily Moore?"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I don't remember her name because I was too busy talking when she said it, but I think it started with an L, so that might have been it.
I should have recognized her. I'm so terribly sorry. It's,
You like syrup? Is that how you know her?
Oh, no, it's I followed her pre-Olympic career. That's
Olympics.
well, she almost made it in.
Y'all was in the Olympics?
No.
Hey, you learn something new about folks you work with every damn
She never
day.
quite made it in, but that's I did see that there was that's not necessarily for lack of trying. My goodness, I'm sorry. Please come in, gentlemen.
Well, the other guy done run out. I can go get him.
Feel free. Yes, I'll give you any assistance you need.
His name is Kenneth Cole of the Brooks Brothers Suit Empire. You might have heard of them before. I'm going to go get him. He'll hook you up with some nice clothes if you talk nice to him. I'm going to go get him. I'll be right back. Hey,
good.
Kenneth Cole.
So the coroner shows Kevin into the room with the bodies, into the morgue, where Lily already is. She's basically flipping down and doing a perfect landing, and you see the
That's impressive.
You see the coroner looking slightly less threatening as he comes in. He says, "I'm terribly sorry, Miss Moore. I did not recognize you. Of course, you may avail yourself completely of our resources. What do you need?"
Oh, thank you very much for the offer. If you don't mind, Timmy here would like. The park ranger asked us to investigate the body parts that were found. Could we examine?
Oh, certainly, absolutely. The park case, yes, of course. Timmy is bringing Cole back into the in through and into the morgue at this point. if Cole wants to go with him, that's really up to him.
Come on, Cole. Let's go. We got to use my terrorometer on the body parts. Now, I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm about 75% sure that these people were killed by a chupacabras. And did you know that is Spanish for it sucks goats? So if you find any dead goats, then I'm going to be 95% sure that it's a damn chupacabras.
Very interesting. Thanks.
Today's episode is brought to you by Chupacabra Repellent. Available at your nearest Walmart.
Protect your goats.
Protect your goats.
All right, protect your goats, indeed. Yes, your folks are in the morgue. So the coroner goes over and he pulls open the.
Maybe that's what was happening to my goats back on the farm. Son of a bitch.
Suddenly, it all becomes clear.
All right. You coming, Cole?
Coming.
Yeah.
Yes.
Coroner goes over to a drawer, opens it, and there are very neatly laid out 3 body parts.
Contact with the guard as he walks by. He's like, all right, I'm going through.
Hey, Cole.
All right.
Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. Do you remember that movie?
What?
Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. Do you ever see it? It's about racing cars. He plays a character named Cole Trickle in that movie. That's kind of like your name, except your name is Cole Brooks after the Brooks Brothers, the suit people.
InSpectres with Kevin Skylark has no relations to Brook Brothers or their affiliates.
Legally distinct
Anyway.
from Brooks Brothers.
I was wondering if maybe, Adam, I was wondering if maybe y'all's parents was a big fan of that movie, and they named you after Cole Trickle from Days of Thunder. And if you ain't seen Days of Thunder, you should see it. It holds up.
It does hold up.
Says the narrator. So you got these 3 body parts in front of you: a tannish leg, a very sort of basement pale set of fingers, and a sort of Icelandic or Irish pale hand.
Well, there's no time like the present. I pull out my backpack, and Timmy pulls out the. I wrote down what it's called. The last moment's terrorometer.
Mm-hmm.
I attach it to the battery pack. Now, I'm still working out some of the battery on it. The battery charge doesn't last too long. He's got literally a backpack that bulges out about 18 inches. That is all battery. And he runs about 6 wires to the last moment's terrorometer, turns it on, and starts waving it over, starting with
Can I
the
do a
Irish
confessional?
hand.
I think. Yes, let's. Yes, this is like a different scene. We'll go ahead and we'll start the confessional as you begin scanning, and then when we come back, you will roll.
Okay.
So let's switch to Lily's confessional.
Okay, little did we know that the smaller the body part, the more dense the emotion attached to that body part. So it actually has a stronger result in the smallest body parts result in a much larger experience by the person using the equipment. Wish we knew that beforehand.
Excellent to know. So, Timmy, please make a technology roll for us.
Well, this thing is still in production. I'm going to go ahead and roll me a technology roll here. Don't add in any franchise dice or anything like that.
You can use your gadgets bonus.
Towards
Okay.
the
That's going to be 5 total dice.
Yeah, you can also use franchise dice if you want, but that's up to you.
No, I'm just going to use the 5 dice. So I'll get my gadgets bonus plus my 4 for technology.
All right. And let's see. Oh, okay, so that's a 6. So the results you get from this is amazing. You can describe the result something amazing, and you gain 2 franchise dice, which means this also progresses your mission significantly. So what amazing thing do you discover with the, as we now know, extreme effect from the smallest of the body parts?
Basically, what I have discovered is that whatever emotion that person had in the last, say, 30 seconds of their life, whether it was abject terror or something else, gets channeled through the terrorometer directly, and Timmy and this deceased person's souls kind of meld for a moment, and he feels everything that they felt, except for the caveat, given that this is only a small part and there's the density factor, he feels it on an order of magnitude greater. So whatever they felt, he feels about 5 times more than they felt.
So,
Sorry, I had to do that to you.
So what is he feeling right now then? What?
Well, that would, I guess, depend on was this person. How did this person feel in their last moments? Were they terrified? Were they? Did they see something that scared them? Did something come out of nowhere and it was just blackness?
Well, this being InSpectres, you actually get to define that. You got an amazing result. So you discover something amazing. Tell us what amazing thing you see.
The last thing that this person felt was a pretty significant amount of terror because they knew for a moment that they were about to die, and in a pretty unpleasant way. I'm assuming that whatever's killing these things is doing it in an unpleasant way, given that it's leaving body parts behind. So,
now, do you
Timmy,
as the person feel the damage being done to you as it's being done?
No, it's an emotional link.
Okay.
So basically, at that moment, I feel the loss that this person feels and a tremendous regret that this person did nothing more with their life other than play video games all day, every day. And they realize they accomplished nothing, and they never got married, and they never had children, and they never managed to finish their college degree. And this overwhelming wave of regret crashes down on them as they realize they thought they had more time, but in fact, They did not have more time. Also, the person was really scared of whatever killed him, so he urinated in his pants. All of these things have now happened to Timmy, who immediately urinates in his pants and begins to cry. Oh, man, I can't tell you. I thought that there was going to be more that I was going to accomplish with my time on this earth. But so far, all I've done made is a remote last moment's terrorometer, and the backpack that I need to wear with this thing for the battery is comically large. I mean, what kind of dumb son of a bitch isn't able to... Look at, y'all got smartphones that do a lot more than this. The battery's that big. I got a backpack on me. Oh, man. And you know what? During that time, I asked Sally Mae to the prom, and she just kicked me in the nuts. That was her response. So I'm not feeling good about that. Y'all, I'm gonna go sit down for a little bit. I'm just gonna sit down. He sits in a chair in the corner and begins weeping.
Excellent.
Truly, it is a sad day for the InSpectres.
I can tell y'all this, that whatever killed this person, they wasn't caught unawares. They saw it coming at the last moment, and it scared the high holy hell out of them.
So Cole goes back to taking a couple of photographs of the parts and looks up at the camera and is like, well, I honestly thought he would have exploded by now, so we're ahead of the game.
Excellent. Okay. So,
and he stops, looks down at his feet where he wasn't paying attention and where he had just stepped in the puddle he left behind, and just closes his eyes for a moment and tries to find a place.
I knew I should have used the bathroom before we left. But, I'm too damn
You
dumb
regret
to
that
do
too,
something
don't
like
you?
that. I
More
do.
regrets.
I regret it a
It's a
lot.
little pack of tissues.
Regret is something I understand how you feel right now so very well.
I'm not entirely sure that you're capable of understanding exactly how much I'm feeling it. You want to take a hit off this terrorometer? Because it's going to let you feel.
No, I got enough issues right now. Thank you, though. I couldn't possibly hope to do everything that whatever it was you did amazingly well, and I couldn't possibly hope to live up to that standard.
Recreational terrorometers.
The pipes are calling.
You've uncovered at least a little bit about a little bit of information about this monster. Is there anything else you want to do at the morgue before you proceed elsewhere?
I would like to offer to sign an autograph for the guy.
Oh, absolutely. The coroner will gladly get an autograph. He has already a photograph of you, strangely enough. And he says, make it out to David, please.
I will do so. Always good to have a contact at the morgue.
Indeed.
Why is it always good to have a contact at the morgue? You know what? That's a dumb question.
So,
just pretend I never said it.
Do you regret that question now?
So I think now is a good time to sort out what the rest of your plan is going to be. If you're going to proceed to the park, or if you're going to, or if you need to do something else first.
Well, I would actually like to examine the body parts,
Sure.
and so I figure my character has a degree in physical education. She would probably have maybe idea if the muscle was torn off, gnawed off, or.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and make an academics roll for me.
Okay.
6. Okay, so looking at these body parts, you discovered something amazing that, again, progresses the case. So that's 2 more franchise dice. And tell me, what do you discover?
That they were actually gnawed off. Almost like what's the thing that eats goats?
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra. It looks like the
Oh, the
teeth marks from
chupacabra.
Chupacabra. And I don't have a lot of knowledge of them, but I definitely would recognize the teeth marks.
You chupacabra.
So I think we might have a lead on the type of creature we're hunting.
Excellent.
By the way, did you know chupacabras are afraid of undead chickens?
Thought they only ate goats.
Yeah.
They do,
It-
but
yeah.
they're also definitely afraid of undead chickens.
Undead chicken doesn't digest well for chupacabras. That's
You know what? Come to think about that, that is what my grandpappy did to protect the farm from a chupacabras. He put a bunch of dead chickens up on posts up around the perimeter. It got a little smelly after a while, but the chupacabras just stopped coming around.
I love this so much.
Undead chickens.
Another fun
are
thing.
crying
Did you know that vampires hate the song Caribbean Queen by Billy Ocean? We used to play that to keep vampires off the farm.
They do. It's true. All right, excellent. So you now have figured out kind of what this thing is, you think. And so is there anything else you want to do at the morgue, or are you going to proceed on perhaps to the park?
I think perhaps to the park, unless we want to go by. Is there some place that we can research the hunting habits and places a chupacabra would try and hide during the day?
Certainly could do that if you want. So what we're going to do then is we're going to go ahead and take a little break real quick before we proceed to the next bit. And then we'll get to chupacabra research, and then hopefully chupacabra handling or dealing with.
One question: Did Timmy get a look in that flash vision he had, or any kind of? Did you get it?
Timmy does have a memory of something lurching out of the bushes, and he remembers that it was not tall. It was something relatively low to the ground that ran on all fours.
Artist, could he work with Timmy to get a more accurate sketch?
I mean, we could possibly give that a try, sure.
Yeah. Okay, so you folks can be working on that. What we're going to do, though, is we'll come back to the results of that, and in the meantime, we're going to take like a 5-10 minute break, maybe. This session is probably going to go longer than 7, as the one last week went to about 7. This one's probably going to go sort of more in the neighborhood of 7:30 for those of you.
Are you saying
Eastern
we're
time.
slow?
No, not at all. It was. I'm just saying that not all the elements were necessarily in place for me to get started until not long before the time of the broadcast. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. No. It's a game.
I'm pretty sure this is your fault.
Timmy says to the GM. All right, excellent.
Confessional. I'm pretty sure.
We mustn't break the fourth wall. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in about like 5-10 minutes. See you
There's a
shortly.
Brooks Brothers commercial.
1.
InSpectres is filmed live before an undead studio audience.
Excellent. Very good. Awesome. Excellent. All right, fellas. So, all right, folk here. So what do you want to do next? You got some info at the morgue. Where do you want to go next?
I was wondering
over to the park.
Yeah, I was
wanted
wondering.
to research though on the Chipapala.
Yeah, if I could do an academics roll to see what my character knows the trivia and history of the park.
That music was way too jaunty that I was trying to put in there. There, that's better.
And I was gonna try to get an accurate sketch of whatever it was based on his urine-soaked recollections.
Okay. So there's a sketch.
Can I also suggest we stop by and get some new undershorts and pants for Timmy?
That's
No, that will attract the monster. The scent will draw it near.
Wow.
We need to keep the authenticity of the show, Lily.
Apparently, those pants. So
Okay, so so let's see. We have some research going on, and we have some drawing going on. I kind of figure that the kind of thing that we do is you're going to stop by. What is it? A library or some other such place?
I was just going to have basically. I was going to have Kevin do an academics roll to see what history he can narrate as they're driving to the park.
Oh, I see. Okay, so this is more of that kind of... Yeah, that'll work too. Perhaps you're looking up information and you look for stuff to narrate. So what we'll do... yeah, I'll go ahead. We'll do that, and then Cole will be sketching while this is going on. Well, wait a minute. Who's driving?
Well, Cole
I guess-
is
driving in the back,
is going to take the wheel.
regretting every moment of being in a confined somewhat.
Can I put a towel down or a plastic garbage bag on the seat before Timmy drives?
You may put whatever you have with you.
Can I ask the corner guy for a just garbage bag?
Oh yeah, they've got plenty of those.
Okay, I would like to
Sometimes
take
they have
one
extra,
from
you
him.
know.
And put it down on the seat before the guy in urine-soaked pants sits down in the driver's seat that one of us may have to drive later.
Oh, I brought a spare pair of pants. This isn't the first time that I have wet myself.
It's good to have emergency pants.
I did bring along a pair of emergency Cole Brookses. And I'm feeling nice and dry.
Excellent. Okay, so first off, I'd like Kevin to go ahead and make his academics roll to see if he can dig up anything as you're sort of going about the Chupacabra, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's looking up facts about the park, and so maybe incidentally things about the Chupacabra, like trivia and stuff, to sort of set the scene.
Okay.
And I'm going to use one of the library points if nobody binds.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
Meanwhile, while he's driving, Timmy is singing his favorite song to sing while he drives, which is Timmy Take the Wheel.
Can you do a sample of how that goes? I don't know if I'm familiar with that tune. I don't think
Timmy
we've had-
Take the Wheel.
Oh dear. Was that a 4? Is that a 4
Yes.
that you just rolled? Is that
Yes.
on your skill? Okay. So you get a fair result as you're doing this. So I'd like you to describe the mostly positive result of your action, but you must also include a negative or humorous effect.
Got you. Golden Gate Park was founded in 1972, and since that time, it has been constantly under the assault of the supernatural. They've had to cover up strange incidents that have occurred there at least 3 times in the past, currently on their 4th attempt. and they have gone to great stakes to ensure that no strange reputation happens to their park. Now, as you might know, their park's mascot, known as Bigfin, sort of a aquatic Bigfoot that crawls around on all fours, is been known in the past. There are many rumors about how it seems to jump out and attack its patrons, but the employers there assure us this is not a problem. Not anymore, at least.
Delightful. Excellent. All right. And so, Cole, would you, I think this is drawing a thing. I'm gonna call this also academics. So go ahead and make an academics roll for me, please.
Alrighty.
5.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you get a description that seems it's pretty good. You get, this is a good result. So you're going to gain a franchise die from this. So this is this is something that does advance what's going on. So it's something good. Describe the result for us. What good thing do you learn?
When he first starts flipping, he's got a sketchbook. He's got a lot of sorted sketches. And the first few pages look mostly at the same, look like the same women. But as he flips past that, there's a picture of himself. Looks like he's hung himself from a tree. And then as he flips past that one, there's a picture of what looks like Jimmy being eaten and torn apart by werewolves, while Cole stands there with a weird machine going, "How are you feeling right now?" Flips.
Well, I don't rightly know why you drew a picture of my brother Jimmy undergoing that. I didn't even know that you had ever met Jimmy. But seeing as my name is
He put you in my head from the earlier mistake. So, anyways, yes. So he flips past that one, and he sketches a rather strange combination of what looks like a weird amalgamation of werewolf and pig, with a rather long, elongated snout, but at the same time very large tusks and razor sharp claws, and it looks like it could be either bipedal or even stayed up on two hind limbs. He sketches various positions for this thing.
Excellent. Okay, so you've got kind of a good...
Sketching it though, he's getting paler and paler, and he's like, "Are we sure we want to find this?"
The studio demanded.
Don't worry, we'll get an undead chicken on the way. We'll be fine.
Everything.
I'm pretty sure they ain't gonna pay us less than we do.
There's always that. There's always that issue. All right,
And I can tell y'all right now, Timmy is all about them Benjamins.
That's right. And Timmy, as you're the one driving through downtown San Francisco, I need you to make a 1-die stress roll as we're headed there.
See, that's how I know that you haven't been to San Francisco, because that's like a 10-die stress roll.
This is fair enough. It's sort of a...
You haven't tried driving in Riga. It's like San Francisco, but all the signs are in Russian.
Oh, wow. So all hills and you can't tell where you're going? That's sounds, yeah. I don't know.
Yikes.
Fair enough.
I think it's close to like Chicago. There's a lot of construction that happens during the summer, and yet the signs are still in Russian.
So
They don't change them in the summer? I got a 4.
You got a 4 on your
Stress roll.
1-die stress roll, and so that means annoyed. So it's not a big deal, but you are going to suffer a 1-die penalty on your next skill roll, no matter where or when you perform it. So your next skill roll, you're going to be at 1 less die,
All right, then.
and because you're just
Man,
like,
I don't know how anybody gets by in this city. This is a whole load of hogwash.
I told you should have made a left back there.
If I'd made a left back there, then it comes around to a one-way street, and I'd have had to go back 3 blocks the other way to get the direction we won't go.
yeah.
Hogwash.
We're looking at the right. I take a left. I lived here all my life.
Hey, you stick to designing pants. Timmy will stay behind the wheel.
Oh.
This is why I take the tram cars.
Of course, window doesn't work.
So there is public parking at the park, thankfully. So you do manage to get there, and I'm actually going to go ahead and do a couple things. I'm going to, first of all, very briefly, I'm going to show the audience once again where we are for franchise dice. As you can see, we have 6 out of 10 franchise tokens that we've earned thus far on this mission. So just 4 to go to solve this thing. And then I'm also going in Roll20. I'm going to make visible to you folks the map that I picked up, and we don't have to follow this at all strictly, or indeed, at all. But I did pick up a tourist map of Golden Gate Park, and I'm going to show that to you now, so you can now access that in Roll20 if you so desire. Just for the folks who may be watching, this is that map that I'm showing those folks. So you should be able to see that as well on the screen that I got.
There are Segway tours. You think they can hook us up with one of them Segways? I think we should only be going around this here park on Segway.
What would you do with a Segway?
Ride it.
But could you improve it?
I would like a Segway for my haunted camera.
I'm gonna get us some Segways and I'm gonna rig them up a little bit.
Meanwhile, Paul begins to try to make little dots of where they said they had found all the body parts.
Okay, very good.
He's doing that, while he's doing that, Timmy is whose car is this? Oh, this is the practice, the franchise vehicle.
Yeah, it's your van.
All I had to, oh crap, they got Segways there. Hang on. I'm gonna pull over. Can one of y'all drive?
I will drive.
All right, cool. I pull over or just stop at a red light, which we'll be at for about 30 minutes because we're in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I run to the back of the truck and start gathering up tools and other bits and pieces of electronics as soon as I've discovered that there are Segway tours.
Excellent.
Special InSpectre Segways.
Yes, InSpectre Segways. Yes.
I take out my iPad and pull up some schematics, some electronic diagrams of Segways so I can start learning how various parts of them work and how I might be able to improve them when I get there and borrow a few.
Oh my god. Okay, so you're doing that. I believe Cole said that he was putting little dots on the map of where the where the attacks were.
Yeah.
Or where at least where the body parts were found. So that was in the Shakespeare Garden, the Japanese Tea Gardens, and just outside the Academy of Sciences. Those were where the 3 body parts.
The Japanese Tea Gardens, the Shakespeare
Garden, and the Academy of Sciences, just outside that. So that's where the 3 body parts were found.
Clearly, this monster is a creature of culture.
Like, hey guys, this is all in the same general area.
Is there a date along? Like, which ones were found where first?
Let's see. I think the ones in the Shakespeare Garden were found first, or were they found last? That's an excellent question because I think those were actually the ones in the one in the Shakespeare Gardens were found last. So it goes Tea Gardens for the first morning, Academy of Sciences the second morning, and Shakespeare Garden the third morning.
So it seems to be following that path.
And that's also when they found the claw marks in the bust of Shakespeare.
Well, I would suggest
it's all in the same area.
Yeah, let's go. I would suggest starting with the Shakespeare Park.
All right. Well, you folks. Now, Timmy has run off to get some Segways. And what kind of modifications are you? You're able to get a hold of some Segways. We'll just say that that's happening because there are quite a lot of them. You can do yourself. It's just a question of checking them out, really. I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
And what sort of modifications are you making to these Segways?
Okay, so all three of them, I bypass certain of the restrictions inside of them that are going to limit the speed, which makes it so that while they're capable of going at a slower speed, they're able to go, let's say, about 4 to 5 times faster than your average Segway. I've also made a modification so that they're a little bit more effective running off-road, because in the back of this truck, I've also done some repair on other devices that I've used, and I've got some special turf tires from big riding lawnmowers that I've taken and put on these that have large cleats on them that can really dig into the turf so that we can really move a lot faster when we're traveling over grass and things like that. For Lily's, since she is from Canada, as far as Tim is concerned, Canada, Europe, it's the same damn thing. So hers has a siren on it, but it sounds like one of those European sirens, like that. And then I take some paints I have, and for Cole's, I paint it to look like Cole Trickle's race car in the movie Days of Thunder. He's got a Mountain Dew logo on the front of it. and like lime green racing stripes running along it. And I wrote Cole Brooks in cursive along it, like on top of a race car.
Excellent.
For it. And for Derek, I rigged up I took an extra, because the Segways mostly run off of gyroscopic technology, so I disassembled an extra one, and I built a special stabilizing gyroscope which attaches to the front of the Segway, so that way Derek can mount his camera, and he can actually run the camera like GoPro style right off of the Segway.
We must have been stuck in a very long time.
It's entirely possible.
Tim, it works quick. He laid out the designs while we was driving.
You have a tech of 4, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say that there's a thing that they have in this game where you can just basically do it as though you rolled an average result if you have a 4 in a thing. So I'm just gonna go with that for this because it's nothing too crazy. I mean, the speed is going to be hilarious, and so let's have that happen definitely. So it's you make all of the. So I'm not gonna make you roll, is what I'm saying. You make all these modifications, and you're pretty much set by the time you find a parking place, and head into the park. So you head into the park, and Timmy has got these Segways all ready for you.
Yeah, Timmy is also on Cole's. He's also put he's kind of built in the side of it, just like a little arm that comes up, and it's flying a flag. That's just a pair of nice pants.
Good. Are you sure they're nice pants? Are they not your urinated pants?
They're actually my
urinated pants.
Yeah, they're my Cole Brooks designer urinated in pants. I gotta dry these things out, and that way everybody can know that there's a fashion designer on this.
Find your center. It'll be all right. Excellent.
Hey,
That's
Cole,
totally be discreet.
You ever drank Mountain Dew, Cole?
Yes, I have drank Mountain Dew.
Now, it is real good. And I've done up your Segway here. I mean, I ain't done it in great detail, but I managed to put on a decal here for Mountain Dew and put Cole Trickle's car number from the movie Days of Thunder. Seriously. You gotta watch that movie. In fact, as soon as we saw this, I'm going to watch it again. I got a Blu-ray. I got 2 Blu-rays. I got a backup Blu-ray in case my first one goes. I can lend you one if you want to watch it, because it is great.
InSpectres is not sponsored by Mountain
Which is worse, getting eaten by a chupacabra or not getting eaten by a chupacabra?
I'm going to say not getting eaten by a chupacabra is going to be ideal. But usually with chupacabras, you don't got to worry too much because you're not a goat. Wait, are you a goat?
Enough.
I'm just going to head off to where we're supposed to go.
All right,
On your
make sure
Segway? Are you taking the Segway?
You're going to want to be a little careful on it because it's really going to open up. And Timmy jumps on his and starts going about 45 to 50 miles an hour. Wait. On a Segway.
Okay, I do want to run my siren because I don't want to hit anybody while I'm on it, and because that would be rude.
Out of curiosity, whose credit card did you put this on?
Now, this is all just extra parts I had in the back of the truck. I always keep a European-style siren. You always want to have one of those on hand. I don't have any extras, so this is the only one I got. So Lily's going to have to be careful with it, all right? All I had to do to make them go faster was just bypass a few of the circuitry that try to limit how much horsepower can actually go into the motor. Now, it is going to be prone to overheating, so we're not going to want to go super fast for more than, I don't know, a couple of minutes. You're going to know that you're going too fast too long when you start to smell smoke coming out right underneath your feet. So just be a little careful on that. And you start to smell smoke, just back it off about 10 miles an hour. It's going to be all right. I didn't have time to fashion a new cooling system, so I have to do that at another juncture.
So you folks leap onto these segways, presumably, unless you don't.
No, I'm riding with the siren on, though, because I don't want to hit anybody.
Excellent.
If Cole doesn't take his, Kevin will climb onto his, and then his possessed camera will drive itself.
Are you taking yours, Cole?
Yeah, but he takes the pants down first.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Kevin salutes.
They'll air out some other way. So you pilot your mightily fast segways crazily through the alleyways of the park up until you reach the Shakespeare Gardens. There is a big arched gateway that is normally locked because you can usually only get in there by appointment, but Ranger Jocelyn has arranged for you to be able to get inside. So there is someone on hand who opens the gate for you. You go in, and there is basically a brick walkway. It's the main features is there are a lot of flowers in here, pretty flowers and trees. Trees coming up and forming a canopy over a brick walkway with a sundial, an ornate sundial in the center. That leads off to a wider bricked area with a brick wall that has a bust of Shakespeare that was donated by Stratford-upon-Avon to the park a long time ago. Those are basically the features of the park. A lot of people, and there are a bunch of chairs, a bunch of folding chairs here also on the grass. This place is used most often for weddings, so there's some wedding paraphernalia on a few tables here as well. So it looks like they're not quite finished clearing up after whoever was here last.
Cole just starts taking random photos of the area and the environs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look at the scratches in the statue with the camera obscura to see if there are any sort of magical residue or anything.
Excellent. Well then, I will need you, Kevin, to make a technology roll for me.
All right. Do you guys mind if I use the last of our credit card?
I'm fine with it.
No, go ahead.
Cool.
Alrighty. And is that a 6?
Yes.
That would be a 6. Excellent. So you have gotten an amazing result. This as you are using your camera. So it's a 2 franchise die result. So you're getting very close now to finding your objective. So describe the result.
All right. So Kevin, he's leaning at his camera. He's looking through it, and on camera you can see this sort of like dark olive mist surrounding the statue, and there's a line of it that just kind of drifts off into the foresty area by this, probably going towards the Japanese gardens, which I think is one of the other ones. Mm-hmm. And as Kevin's looking at this, he goes, the obscura appears to be picking up some kind of stinkificous gaseous mixture, or scientifically as it's known, fart gas. I think we should follow it.
Can I do a confessional real quick?
Yes, let's go ahead and get you in there. Let me grab that. And confessional.
Right about then, when I saw that trail going off through the fog, thanks to what the documentarian had set up for us, I realized that I was glad I had recently been tinkering with and working on another of my recent inventions, commonly referred to as Buddy the EHD, or Electronic Hound Dog. Now, back on the farm, a hound dog is about anything you ever need, and I had a great hound dog, and his name was Buddy. And when Buddy got a little too old to be tracking things out through the woods for me, and he done passed on, I decided there's no dog that could replace Buddy, but perhaps there would be a device on a stick that could replace Buddy. And so I fashioned Buddy the EHD, the electronic hound dog. And about then I pull out of my pack what looks to be a crude papier-mâché mock-up of a basset hound's head on about a 2-foot long stick that's got some sensors poking out of the nose. This is Buddy the electronic hound dog. Now what he does is if there's a particular trail, he can pick up scent that might be running on that trail, and it actually picks up particles from the air. It's designed on the same concepts of what basset hounds and other similar bloodhounds and tracking animals use by picking up particular tiny particles of scent that are far too small for the human nose to pick up. And Buddy the EHD is able to get a concentration of these and help putting you in the right direction. So as you're veering off, if you're veering off a little too far to the right from the scent, Buddy the EHD starts to give you a lighter signal. And as you get back onto it, it's kind of like a hot and cold game. It starts buzzing up a little bit more, so you know you're running in the right direction. So I figured with a combination of what was put out for us, this trail to follow, and Buddy the electronic hound dog, we might find that chupacabras, or whatever it might be, sooner rather than later.
All right. Well, so you produce Buddy the EHD, and you activate him, and he immediately comes to attention and starts racing through the park, following the trail in a beeline toward the Japanese tea gardens.
Y'all, let's go get us some tea.
Segue off.
Segway full speed. Everybody.
Side effect, the Segway tires are tearing up the turf everywhere we go.
Yeah, that's
Probably not
unfortunate.
gonna
All
walk
flying
around.
up in front of you, and you're heading toward the tea garden through various places over as much terrain as you can. Segways are not built to be able to, and they've been adjusted and upgraded, but it's some of the terrain they have a little more trouble with than others. So Buddy gets a fair distance ahead of you. You see him turn and race over a bridge into the tea gardens, and from the tea, and then it's getting on toward it's like mid-afternoon at this point, and it's a cloudy day, and it's getting a bit overcast, and you can see the Japanese style buildings, a couple of those that they have in the tea gardens up ahead. You can hear and the various different types of flowers that they have up there. As you approach the bridge, Segway gets closer, and you hear Buddy just sort of making just sort of barking electronically, and then the barking suddenly stops as you get closer, and you know he's in there somewhere, and you can hear something else in there shuffling around. Somewhere in the garden, over the babbling of the brook that runs through it.
I will follow Buddy.
Yeah, there's a little lake there, sort of a little pond in the in this tea garden. Several a lot of different little trees and little bridges.
Familiar with the park, having spent a lot of time here. Does anything look obviously weird or different?
Well, it looks as though there are not a lot of people here right now, which is unusual because this is a pretty popular place. It's kind of like, for some reason, people are not going in. They're kind of actively avoiding it.
Hey, anyone notice that? No, never mind. This place should have more people around than it does right now. Wait a minute, did I just watch a horror movie? Oh, this is it.
We might have walked into at least some of the opening scenes, but you're right. It's almost like there's some kind of mystical force that is kind of subtly pushing people away from wanting to be in this vicinity.
All right, look, whatever we do, let's just not split up, all right? I think we've all seen enough movies to know what happens with that, right?
I definitely agree. I'm going to check the north end. You take the south.
Kevin's gone.
I'll take the east end.
I'm just kidding with you. I definitely agree we ought to stay together there, Cold Trickle. Wait, you're not Cold Trickle. That's Tom Cruise in the movie Days of Thunder. Don't go pretending you're Tom Cruise, you son of a bitch.
Perish the thought. Can we focus?
Besides, isn't he a little tall to be Tom Cruise?
Yeah, Tom Cruise is actually 4'2". Little known fact. But anyway, yeah, let's.
Telling me he was a leprechaun.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
think
how
he
he got it to start in the movies. He paid someone gold. Didn't you
He
know?
had a whole pot of it. Now, y'all, I kind of like this here theory. I think we should explore it in depth, probably after we take care of the chupacabras.
I agree.
Or whatever it is.
I'm going to say that as you are heading over the bridge leading in, you're all looking around, and for a brief moment, Cole, you actually, as you're scanning around and you look and you see on a distant bridge a figure that looks kind of familiar. A woman that perhaps you saw here before. And she's pointing. She's pointing at the building in the back, which is the type of building. It's a makoshi. It's a decorative pent roof. Basically, has a roof, a building with a decorative pent roof surrounding it below the true roof. You know, it's like tiered roofs.
Okay, like
I do.
and then he looks quickly, and then he's like, "Oh crap!" And he looks back to see if she's still there.
And she's gone. I need you to make a 2-die stress roll, please.
Son of a bitch!
Can I do a confessional?
Let's get the stress roll first, and then we'll slide you in.
2.
2 dice, yes. Stress roll. All right.
Ooh, not bad.
Double 6s, sir. Okay. That's really good. So, for your stress roll, too cool for school, you gain a point of cool and suffer no real stress. You're actually fine. The cool die, let me explain how that works. You have 1 cool die. You can use this to offset a negative penalty, basically by the number of cool dice you have when you make a roll. So if you're down, say like 2 dice on a skill, you would only be down 1 dice now when you make a skill roll with it.
Well, cool, because I am down on 1 point on the contact. So
Okay, so yeah, you could use it for that. The other thing you can use it for at some point is you can cash it in if you want to just raise your skill back up to by 1 die if it's been brought down by a previous stress roll. So you have a point of cool. So you see that you look back, she's not there, but you're okay.
Was he the only one that saw her?
He was the only one that saw her.
Okay.
I was gonna do a confession, but since he already called, I'll let him go.
Well, he'll go first, and then if you want, you can do yours right after. I'll go ahead. We're gonna head over to Kevin's confessional.
So this confessional is going to be a bit special because instead of it going to his face, it's going to be a dramatic reenactment with him narrating over it. And so in this dramatic reenactment, Cole is being played by Tom Cruise, of course. And the ghost is just a person with a sheet on top of them. And so he looks at the ghost. He's like, and it was in that moment when he saw the strange specter none of us could see, pointing directly at this beautiful mural that we all saw it. And the camera flashes up to the mural, and it's a picture of the mascot, and they're holding a chili dog, and they're just eating it, and they just look like they're having a wonderful time. And that's where the scene ends.
Excellent. Okay, so that is indeed true. When you get over to the Makoshi, you'll see a mural painted on the side of it that depicts that. Cole, did you also want a confessional?
Yeah. So.
Okay, we're gonna go over to you now.
You know, up to a few minutes ago, I was pretty convinced I was going to die out here. What made it worse, though, is I was probably going to die with them. Just not how I would choose to go. But the way the day has gone, to be perfectly honest with you, I think I would be the one who would die and they would get off just fine, which I'm thinking now I would probably come back and haunt them if that was the case. But I feel different now, you know? I don't know how to explain it. You know, I don't really have the answers that I'm looking for, but I feel like I'm on the right track. I feel like, as difficult as this is where I need to be.
All right.
I'd like to do a quick confessional.
Ah, excellent. Okay. Let's get them all in. And confessional.
As we were approaching that animation building or whatever it was, I thought how I've never been considered a brave man by myself or anybody else. And I always wondered if when the chips came to it, if I really would be a brave man. And I learned the answer that day. The answer was no. And that I was glad. And that I was glad I had brought a third pair of pants.
All right, if we're gonna do it, can I do a confession?
Absolutely. Hang on.
Yes.
And confessional.
I'm gonna have my un-Canadian-like moment and just say that my floor routine was far better than Charlotte's.
That's very true. That's very true. You were robbed, in my opinion.
David agrees.
Absolutely.
That's all I have to say.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that with us, Lily. That was a very, very important character moment there. All right. So you folks head in, and do you head toward that bridge, or do you do something else?
Let's go towards the bridge.
Segue on up.
All right.
Destroying
As
the
we-
inside of this building.
As we approach, I pull out a special invention that Timmy Pickles had created some months back, and what he has basically done is, have you ever seen those tree shears that people use? It's almost like a small chainsaw on a long, like 10-foot pole that they use to trim down,
They drive me nuts.
yeah. So he basically took two of those and combined them at either end in about a 4-foot staff that has chainsaws at either end. And he pulls them out of his pack and connects the two together, and then runs that to his giant battery pack that's on his back, and that's how he powers his chainsaws. Y'all, just in case that chupacabra want to get things real, I got here a double-handed, well, you know what it is. It's a choppy chop. Let's move it, people.
All right. I think this is... actually, no, that's out of common parts, so yeah, you can have that. I was thinking it was a weird item, but no, actually, it's just a bunch of chainsaws on sticks, so I think you're good.
Yeah. Basically, he just bought two electric trimmers and then combined them and is running them off of his all-purpose battery pack. That's really all it is.
That works for me. All right.
I think your video froze again.
Oh, darn it! Let's see if I found out something that might be able to do to fix it. Let's see. If not, I'll need to...
We may need to reorient. So there may be a moment of disorientation. We'll have to see how it goes. So you folks are heading over just over this bridge, and as prophesied, you come in sight on the side of this building, on the side of this Makoshi, a mural, as described by Kevin Skylark at some point in the near future. That depicts the mascot of this place. It depicts Bigfin eating a hot dog happily.
What kind of hot dog? Is it a goat
Painted
hot
in
dog?
blood.
Painted in blood. Is it is Big
chili
Fin?
dog.
Big Fin's like it's got 4 legs but can rise up on the back too, right? Is that
Yeah, it's aquatic Sasquatch.
aquatic Sasquatch?
Yeah, Bigfoot but big fin.
Yeah. So you see this disturbing painting on the side of this building. Actually, who's first across the bridge?
Not.
Be first? Sure.
Is Lily first? Okay. Since you're the first one to see this mural, I'm sorry.
Cole will be a close second, I think, but
Since Lily will be the first to see this mural, I would like her to make a 1-die stress roll upon witnessing it.
Oh God. See how stressed I am.
5. No, blasé. Doesn't matter. No effect.
Dude, if you've dealt with high school female gymnasts, this is nothing.
Yeah, so you come in. Oh, it's a humanoid shark. Okay. Eating a hot dog. All right. And you see there are a couple of entrances into this building. And once again, gardens, flowers all about. There's nice grass, little trees. What would you folks like to do?
Where's Buddy?
Buddy is nowhere to be seen, but you heard him.
Well,
heading-
fortunately, I've got a GPS locator chip that I can have synced up with my iPad that I implanted in Buddy. And let's see if we can't follow that. I whip out my iPad and pull up my Buddy the EHD app and see approximately how far away Buddy is and in what direction he might be.
Cole's going to take a look at the vegetation nearby around to see if it's been disturbed or trampled.
In fact, it does look like it has been. Something has been here recently. There's one of the little bonsai trees has actually gotten a few of them have gotten torn up and dug up. It looks like, and there's nothing down there that you can see. Well, at least from here, there's a little mound. But when you pull up your little sort of GPS locator for Buddy. The signal is coming from inside the building, inside that tiered building, the Makoshi. Or Mokoshi. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
Looks like, I don't know what Buddy done come across, but he's right over yonder.
All right, are we going in the building?
Take a look at this. Something moved through here, and I don't think it was a visitor.
Can we tell
We're definitely on the right
way
spot.
the creature would have pushed? Like, is it coming towards the building or away from the building?
All signs are that best you can tell is that, yeah, it's probably heading toward the building from what you can see here.
Well, let's. All right, if anybody's got weapons, I'm gonna pull out some of my maple syrup, and let's go take a look at the building.
The only weapon I
I've got
need is
Timmy
my
Pickles.
journalistic integrity.
For my part, I'll be wielding the Timmy Pickles two-hander special.
Excellent.
I segue towards it.
Okay. Who is...
Thinking my stance on gun control right now.
Yeah. Who
And while it pains me to admit, I think if I continue in this line of work, I'm going to have to adopt Timmy's two pants rule.
It's entirely
Sometimes
possible.
you want to bring three.
Mayhap. All right, so you head into the.
This.
Yeah. Segue in full speed ahead.
Who's first?
Kevin.
Kevin. All right, Kevin. You've got
People
your
with
camera.
First. People with weapons first.
No, I'm gonna run it over.
Kevin has a weapon of the truth. All right, so you're
Right.
steering inside, and as
Hey,
you go in,
demons, it's me, your boy.
you can't see very well. You can see mostly its outlines of stuff. It's pretty dark in there. There is not a lot of features to the inside of this building, but in the corner, you can hear something just sort of going, and you see the outline of something hunched down low to the ground. What do you do?
I flash my camera at it, which has a light, and try to discern what it is and put it in the spotlight.
Are there any other entrances or exits in this building?
There's one other way in and out.
Can I make my way there outside the building?
Yeah, you can go. You can circle around so that you're at the other entrance. That's no problem.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, it's not a huge building. It's mostly a single room inside that you've got these two openings that go in. All right. Flash your light at it, and I think now, since you're using, you're bearing down on it with a not entirely silent segue. Flashing a light at it. This sounds to me like a... Yeah, and you're doing mundane stuff with it. So I think we will go with athletics. Yes. Let us make
Okay.
an athletics roll.
All right. So what's my athletics? Ooh, that's my worst one.
Excellent.
Well, you can use one of the coins.
All right, I will
Always can.
use one of the coins.
All right. Okay, and you got a 4?
Yes.
All right. So that's goes off of there. And so your 4 for your skill roll. Fair. So it's you can describe the mostly positive result of your action, but you must also include a negative or humorous effect.
And then I saw it. A chupacabra cosplaying as Bigfin, eating this small robotic dog. I had never seen anything so horrific in my life.
Dun dun dun. All
I
right.
like how Chupacabra is cosplaying.
So that is in fact what you see. Rearing up on its hind legs. It
Holy
looks up at
shit!
you with its big round dark eyes through the hood of this shark costume. This big fin costume. It cries out at you. "Rah!" Please make a 3-die stress roll.
Oh damn.
Is this
All of
everybody
us?
or just Kevin?
This is Kevin first. All right. So you got a 2 on that roll. And you are frazzled, so you lose 2 dice from a skill or 1 die from 2 skills. You lose 2 dice. So decide where those
Gotcha.
come off from. And so how do you react when you see this?
Kevin stares at it, and he opens his mouth to say something, but then he stops, and he turns off the light on the camera, and slowly puts the Segway in reverse, and just goes back.
All right. You can. The rest of you are coming in. You can, just as the light shuts off, and there's a thing snuffling around in the dark that is. You heard this horrible cry, and something is rushing toward Kevin. What are the? And so let's see. Who was second into the building? Was it Cole?
No, I said weapons people first, so I would have
Weapons,
gone.
so Timmy's probably, I think, next, and then Lily. So Timmy, you see this happening.
Got
What do
the
you do?
double-hander. Heavenly God. I turn to Lily and I toss her my weapon, and then I get behind her. Here, you take this.
I thought she was a member.
She's
Yeah.
coming in. Well, she's not behind you. That's the thing. You can see her coming
Oh.
in through the distant entrance. The creature is between you and her.
Oh, heavenly God. Well, all right. I turn on I flip the switch and begin running both of my chainsaws, and I begin slowly approaching the creature. Just, stay back and whatnot.
All right. Well, we said that this is actually, despite looking strange, is a fairly mundane object. So instead of a tech roll, you're going to make an athletics roll for this, as you're trying
Okay.
to push it back with your mighty chainsaws.
Athletics. What do I have in athletics? I think it's 2. Let me double check. 2, but I have -1 die from previously being upset.
True.
Is that permanent or just on the next roll?
Just on the next roll. So just on this roll.
Okay. So I get 1 die.
Kevin is backed up enough just to get the perfect shot of this.
So Timmy
The
Pickles
lights
got
off.
a 2, and that's bad. So the GM decides your fate, or you may suggest something suitably negative. So what do you think
Okay.
bad happens to you as you're racing toward this thing?
Timmy swings around the Timmy Pickles 2-hander special, and as he's doing so, he has not paid close attention to the rear chainsaw, because putting 2 chainsaws on a stick is not the best idea in the world. So he brings the front one around the front, and the rear one smashes up against the battery and begins cutting into it. Sparks begin flying, and now his backpack is on fire.
Excellent. That sounds very stressful. Fighting a chupacabra while your backpack is on fire. Please make a 3-die stress roll.
Oh boy. 3 dice. Right.
Okay. 4, which is not terrible. Again, you're just annoyed. So you're going to get another 1 die penalty to your next skill roll.
If only you had a dime for every time you backpack a battery.
Well, I got spare ones back in the truck, but I don't bring as many as I bring spare britches. In a moment of inspiration, Timmy realizes, well, this thing ain't good for much, but maybe it'll be good for this. He takes the backpack off and swings it around and throws it directly at the chupacabras.
You are in the process of getting your backpack off while this is happening. This is backing up at the same time, though. Lily is going to come in through the other side. And you see this going on. What are you doing?
What is the creature doing right now?
The creature is currently just sort of loping toward Kevin, and then Timmy comes up to it and distracts it, and it's like...
So its back is to me.
Yes.
Can I run and try and trip it?
Yes, you can. You race forward and try to trip it. Please make an athletics roll. Ooh. Okay, now that actually... Well, wait. You got a 3, a 2, a 4, and a 4. So actually, that was a 4, I think.
Oh.
Because I think you probably hit the stress button.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry. Should I re-roll?
So, well, no, it's a 4. It's fine.
Okay.
It just highlights the low roll instead of highlighting your high roll.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's all that means. So, let's see. On this skill roll, fair. So you get to describe the mostly positive result of your action, but you must also include a negative or humorous effect. So what happens?
Okay. I run, I knock it over, and as it falls, it starts to fall on Timmy, which then knocks the backpack that's on fire onto Cole.
Ah, excellent. So Cole, who's bringing up the rear, is about to get a face full of fiery backpack. Make a 2-die stress roll for me, please, sir.
Oh, and then Timmy ends up with a chipotle on top of him.
Teamwork!
Yes.
I'm gonna say something to Cole when he gets this thing off. So,
Okay, so Cole got a 3 stressed. You lose a die from the skill.
Temporary?
Well, for until such time. Well, you could use unless you use your cool to buy it off, basically until the end of the mission.
All right. So let me get this straight now. So she's on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I managed to bat away a flaming
backpack. Yes.
And the things on him.
Yep.
Onto me. All right. So it's kind of dark in here.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
All right. So
there's a burning backpack that's helping, but that's about it.
yeah, in an effort to try to buy Timmy some moments, I'm gonna try to use the flash on the camera to strobe it really quick. See if I can just allow him a brief moment of distraction and the hopes that somebody with the martial skills can do something.
All right. This is a regular camera that you're strobing at it. I think. See, because this is very much a pressing a button and aiming thing, so it could be either an athletics or it could be a technology roll. I think I will let you use technology on this if you wish.
All right. Can I use one of the dots we have left on the credit card there, as well as a cool dice?
You may. So
right.
that would basically give you 2 more dice.
Anyone have a problem with me using that last pip?
Do it.
All right. So
It is
that gives
done.
me 2 plus 2, 4, then minus 1 because of my stress situation.
Mhm.
So 3 dice.
All right. Okay, that is a 4. And so that is a fair result. So describe the mostly positive result of your action, but you must also include a negative or humorous effect. So,
All right. After batting the flaming battery away, he quickly focuses and assesses the situation and starts rapid fire taking pictures and with using the flash to stun the creature. And it does, look up away from Timmy for a moment. But unfortunately, Cole was also staring right at it. So now he's a little dazed and blinded too. He's like, I can't see anything! And he's just standing there, just flashing randomly. He doesn't even know what he's flashing at this point.
While this is happening, Kevin turns to Cole and says, "Cole, talk to it. It is an artist like you. Remember the
He just
Kevin, it looks
nuts.
like
Can I
Cole is.
attempt to like land on him, on the creature, and like roll it off of Timmy?
You'll be able to do that, or try to do that. But first, let me see here. Kevin, let me just ask: do you want to? You see that Cole is kind of distracted. Do you want to try to do anything else?
I'll try and run the monster over with the Segway.
Okay, so you're like, all
Why
right,
not
here we go.
While flashing my camera's lights as well.
Okay. I believe this the last time you were ambling in on your Segway. This was an athletics roll. I will let you use either athletics or technology since you've had the ability to kind of assess.
Alright, let's see. I'll go ahead and I'll use technology.
Okay.
Cool boy!
And that would be a 2. So, bad. So, you may suggest something suitably negative. What bad thing happens as you roll forward?
The Sasquatch moves out of the way and I just end up running over Timmy.
Ah! So,
Y'all, I have had better days.
so Timmy takes a. You're getting run over by a Segway. As the good news is, the creature is no longer on you. The bad news is a Segway just rolled over you, and you're both in
tires.
and you're sort of lying, and you see Kevin just sort of go sailing over you and land in a heap on the other side of you with the rest of the Segway.
Good job.
So Timmy, what are you doing? This is all like sort of as you're sitting here under a half crumpled Segway.
Well, if there ever was a good time to test out Rocket Kick, now's the time. I'd like to do a quick confessional if I could.
Let's see. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and treat this as our last scene during which sure. Yeah, sure, why not? Confessional.
Among the many things that I like to design is one of my newest inventions called Rocket Kick. The concept of Rocket Kick is simple. I wear a pair of work boots with lead toes in them. I have built a small rocket into the heel. I flip a switch that I have hidden inside of my belt. It causes the rocket to go off while I'm kicking, and it puts more force behind my kick. I originally came up with the idea when I was a kid playing soccer, and it wasn't very good. So I designed something that would make me be able to kick the ball so hard that I'd always be able to score a goal. The bad side was, broke one kid's nose. The upside is, I've repurposed it to Rocket Kick.
Okay, so you have this thing that can rocket kick now, and what are you
Correct.
doing?
Well, I have designed Rocket Kick, and I'm going to run up to the Chupacabras, and I am going to attempt to kick it in the head to stun it with my steel-toed boots, while firing off Rocket Kick to try and put a bunch of force behind the kick.
All right,
It could go very poorly.
let us make a technology roll.
Okay, I'm at a -2 penalty, right?
If you lost one off your technology, and then you had a -1 to your next roll, I believe, temporarily.
Yeah, I accounted for that when I tried to use my. But then I got another penalty
Yeah.
when I got the flaming backpack.
Yeah.
So I have a -1 to my technology.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to be at 3 dice.
Okay. And that is a 5. So
All right.
that is good. So you're getting very close to completing your mission here. You can it's a good thing. You can describe the result and gain a franchise die. So you accomplished something. So what happens?
Timmy takes a big step forward and goes for a big swinging kick at the Chupacabra's head. At the moment you see his foot come back, right when it starts coming forward again, you notice a flame start shooting out of the heel. Right then, the boot flies upwards following his foot and kicks the Chupacabra square in the face. The downside of it is the power was more than Timmy had quite accounted for, and it lifted him clean off the ground, and then the boot flew off and went flying off into the far recesses of this room. So now he's laying on his back with only one shoe on, but the Chupacabra, it has been kicked squarely in the head.
All right. So
Can I do a confessional?
Okay, the Chupacabra's lying on the ground, and it's time for one more confessional from Kevin. So we're gonna go ahead and switch over to Kevin.
It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. When his foot connected with its head, not only did the shark mask come off, but the Chupacabra head came off as well, and underneath it was a female ghost that Cole seemed to recognize.
Yes, let's twist everything together, shall we? So Cole, you see that you're coming up and you see this.
Wait, can I do a confessional?
Okay, sure, why not? Hang on. So many confessionals. Go ahead.
So when the two masks came off, I recognized the face of the ghost. It was that bitch Charlotte who was rude to me.
Yes, clearly. That's who it was.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, Cole, you see
Congrats,
this.
Lily.
How are you reacting?
So confessional.
Sure. Let's do that, shall we? Confession.
There's just a lot of bleeps, and then the camera goes off.
Oh,
That's it.
excellent. All right, so Lily, you saw this happening, and you see Cole is probably doing something very similar right now, sort of swearing at the entrance to the to this thing as he's getting back up and seeing this. Lily, what are you doing?
I want to flip into Charlotte, knock her down.
You have a lot of motivation now,
Yes.
and so now you must make your athletics roll.
Can I use the last athletics coin?
Mhm.
Do it.
Take it.
All right.
So I put in 5 for my, because I have 4 athletics plus the. Okay.
Okay. And that's a 5. So that nets you your final die that you need, your final mission token that you need to complete the mission. So, and something good happens as a result. So tell me, what happens when you make your flying leap into Charlotte, the Bigfin Chupacabra?
So the costume above the fin, the Papala, knocks her down where she can't. I look at the camera and say, and that's how you do a backflip properly.
The live undead audience moans.
All right. So the live undead audience moons. Yes. So yeah. The the ghost Chupacabra, the ghost Charlotte of Chupacabra, just sort of is immediately is dispersed, and the costume falls empty. The Chupacabra costume inside the Bigfin costume, and you have defeated the thing that has been dismembering people and leaving claw marks and things in the park. Congratulations!
Hey, Cole, let me give you all a little bit of advice. Stick to designing pants. Stop messing with dead ladies.
You are successful, and as a result, the park will perhaps pay you. Now is the time, though. I think we're going to go through something that we stumbled on last session that I'd like to do again. We're going to do one final round of sort of confessionals, but basically just direct addresses to just sort of the follow-up interview as to how this whole thing ends for you folks. And I think we will start. And let's see, who would like to volunteer?
Can I go last?
You can go last. Yes. Who wants to go
Okay.
first?
Did I learn something from this experience? Ghosts are bitches.
All right, I'll go next.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Either dead or alive, Charlotte was a bitch who stole my routine.
And Paul.
Y'all, I could not have had a better time. I made 3 new best friends. I met a person from Europe that does gymnastics, a famous fashion designer, and a dude with a camera. Rocket boot worked great. Electronic hound dog, I'm going to have to build a new one. Got torn up a little bit. Overall, though, everything worked well. I just couldn't be happier with how things are going for old Timmy Pickles.
Excellent. And finally, Kevin, tell us how it all ends.
And with tonight's episode, my soul can finally be laid to rest. And he dissipates into a ghost, and then credits roll. It goes, dun dun dun, what you gonna dial? InSpectres.
That dude was dead the whole time? No, y'all, I did not see that coming.
Awesome. And with that,
Oh, my God.
we have come to the end of InSpectres. Thank you, folks, so much for playing. I know I had a delightful time. I'm going to just as far as outros go. I'm going to go counterclockwise. I'm going to start with Chris. How you doing? How was the game?
It was quite excellent. Complete twist that I don't think anyone expected.
Yeah.
I think that pretty much you folks did some wonderful hysterical things with this, and it was utterly delightful. Michael, final thoughts. What did you think of the game?
It was a lot of fun. I really liked that the players got a chance to shape the story and what was going on too. So that was great.
Awesome. Paul, same question.
This game was completely stupid, and I absolutely loved it, and I'm hoping to get to play again.
Awesome. It is a delight. It was a delight to have you, man. And finally, Derek, how you doing? What'd you think?
Oh, this was awesome. I had so much fun playing with you guys, meeting you. I love how the system just lets you do whatever you want to do with it. It's great. I hope I get to play with you guys again sometime.
And
I
thank
would
you,
love to
Jim.
play this again.
Yeah, Jim, thank you as GM for letting us go with all these crazy adventures and just going with it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what this is about.
I would love to-
The
I
awesome
would
thing
love
about
to-
this game is
Go ahead.
the awesome thing about this game is I don't have to do a lot. I just come up with a premise and then you tell me where it goes.
I would love to play this game now that I have kind of a better idea in my head of how it's supposed to work. That it's basically it's very different than a lot of other tabletop games. I would love to play again. It's a lot of fun. You guys were all great. Everybody was really fun to play with.
Mhm.
Excellent. And Derek, before we sign off here, you had something you wanted to put in a bit of a plug for, yeah?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to put out there, because without my friend's Discord, I wouldn't have even been able to join this group. My friend Dice Commander, he's got a new game that's out called Mutants in the Night. It is super fun, and if you listen to this, you should give that a try. But you should also give InSpectres a try, because that was a fucking blast. I loved it.
I've also got to second that. DC runs an excellent Discord. So if you like Blades in the Dark, I believe it's a hack of Blades in the Dark, but sort of mutant superheroes. check that out definitely. Because Mutants in the Night, I think it definitely needs a look. Well, folks, thank you so much. Thank you, folks, for watching. That was utterly delightful, and we will be again. I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me on Twitter and on Twitch at OtherDoc. That is OTHERDOC, just like it says right below me. My website is jimyesthatjim.com. We're still doing episodes of the Cyphercast. You can find that at cyphercast.net if you're into the stuff from Monty Cook Games. And next week we'll have our final one shot of InSpectres. We'll have the final crew will go out and we'll see what happens to them. And in the weeks following that, there are going to be a couple of weeks of Fiasco, which I'm very much looking forward to, and should be in September switching over to there's going to be a brief 1 week hiatus beginning of September because I'm going to be at Dragon Con, hopefully, but then after that we're going to be starting in on In a Wicked Age, and so if folks are interested in that and all, it's the Vincent Baker game. Check that out. Thanks once again, everyone, for coming and playing. Thanks, everyone, for coming and watching. And take care. We'll see you all of a sudden.
That was fun. See you guys later.
See ya.
Adios.